Hey everyone, welcome back to the All Speak. I'm Eden and I'm here with my co host Gabby. Today we're diving into something super practical, but honestly kind of intimidating for some people: how to actually order coffee without looking like a total newbie.
Hi, everyone. You know, Eden's right about this being intimidating. I remember when I first started drinking coffee, I would literally practice my order in the car before going into Starbucks.
Oh my god, yes! The pressure is real when there's a line behind you and the barista is just staring at you waiting for your order. So let's break this down, starting with the absolute basics. First tip, and this is huge: know your size preferences before you get to the counter. Like, do you want a small, medium, or large? Every coffee shop has different names for their sizes, which makes it confusing.
Exactly. Starbucks has their tall grande venti system. Dunkin' has small, medium, large. Local coffee shops might just use regular sizing terms, but here's what I learned. If you're unsure, just point to the cup size you want or say the medium one, and they'll figure it out.
That's such good advice. And honestly, baristas are usually super helpful. They're not judging you for not knowing the lingo. My second tip is to start simple and work your way up to more complex drinks. Like, don't jump straight into ordering a half calf, oat milk, extra hot, 2 pump vanilla, light foam cappuccino on your first try. Start with something like a latte with your preferred milk, or just a regular coffee with cream.
Absolutely. And speaking of milk alternatives, that's become such a big thing now. Most places offer almond milk, oat milk, soy milk, coconut milk. Don't feel pressured to stick with regular milk if you prefer something else or have dietary restrictions.
Yes, and here's a pro tip. If you want to try a new drink but you're nervous about not liking it, ask the barista for recommendations based on what you usually like. Like, I normally drink iced coffee with cream, but I want to try something new.
Oh, that's smart. They know their menu better than anyone, and they've probably had hundreds of people ask similar questions.
Exactly. So let's talk about our personal favorites. Gabby, what's your go to order these days?
Oh, I'm pretty predictable actually. I usually get a medium iced oat milk latte with 1 pump of vanilla. Sometimes I'll switch it up and get caramel instead of vanilla, but that's about as wild as I get.
That sounds perfect, though. I love that you found something you really like and you stick with it. I'm the complete opposite. I'm always trying new things. Right now, I'm obsessed with cold brew with a splash of oat milk and a pump of brown sugar syrup. It's so good. It's like a subtle sweetness that doesn't overpower the coffee. But in winter, I switch to hot drinks, usually a medium cappuccino with almond milk. There's something about the foam that just hits different when it's cold outside.
I totally get that. I'm the same way with seasonal preferences. In summer, I practically live on iced coffee, but once October hits, I want everything hot. Do you have strong feelings about cup sizes?
Oh, yes, this is actually really important. I learned the hard way that bigger isn't always better. I used to think getting a large was the best value, but then I realized I was either not finishing my coffee or drinking way too much caffeine and getting jittery. Now I stick to mediums most of the time. It's enough to satisfy me without being overwhelming. Plus, some drinks just taste better in smaller sizes, like espresso based drinks, where you want that perfect coffee to milk ratio.
That's such a good point about the ratios. I never thought about that before, but you're absolutely right. A large latte might just be watered down compared to a medium one with the same amount of espresso shots.
Yes, speaking of different places, let's talk about coffee shops. We both have some strong opinions about where to get the best coffee. Gabby, what's your favorite spot?
Oh, this might be controversial, but I actually really love my local independent coffee shop more than any of the chains.
There's this place called Roasted Grounds near my apartment, and they know my order by heart now. Plus, they roast their own beans, so the coffee always tastes incredibly fresh.
That's not controversial at all. Local shops are amazing. They usually have so much more personality, and the baristas actually care about making a good cup of coffee, not just getting through the line quickly.
Exactly. And the atmosphere is usually so much better for actually sitting and enjoying your coffee. What about you? Where do you usually go?
I'm kind of a coffee shop nomad, honestly. I have different places for different moods. Like, if I need to get work done, I go to this quiet little place called the Daily Grind that has amazing Wi Fi and lots of outlets. If I want to try something new and exciting, I'll hit up Blue Bottle because they're always experimenting with unique flavors.
Oh, I've heard great things about Blue Bottle.
They're really good. And then if I'm in a hurry or traveling, I'll go to Starbucks because I know exactly what I'm getting and they're everywhere. But honestly, I think the key is finding what works for your lifestyle and your taste preferences.
That's so true, and I think that's important for people to hear. There's no coffee snobbery here. Sometimes you need convenience. Sometimes you want to support local businesses. Sometimes you want to try something fancy. All of those are totally valid choices.
Absolutely. Can we talk about some of our most memorable coffee experiences? Because I feel like everyone has at least one story about either the best cup of coffee they ever had or the most disastrous order they ever made.
Oh no, you want me to share my disaster story, don't you?
I mean, if you're willing to, I'll share mine too.
Okay, fine. So this was maybe 3 years ago, and I was trying to be adventurous. I saw this drink on the menu called a red eye, and I thought it sounded cool and mysterious, so I ordered a large one without asking what it was.
Oh no, I know where this is going.
For anyone who doesn't know, a red eye is regular coffee with a shot of espresso added, so basically double caffeine, and I got a large one. I was vibrating for hours and couldn't sleep until like 2 a.m.
Oh my God, that's hilarious. And also a perfect example of why it's totally okay to ask what something is before ordering it. I bet the barista would have warned you if you'd asked.
They probably would have, yeah. What about you? What's your coffee story?
Mine is more of a positive one, actually. I was in Portland last year, and I went to this tiny coffee shop that only had 4 tables. The owner was also the barista, and when I ordered my usual iced latte, he asked me if I wanted to try their house blend instead of whatever they normally use.
Ooh, that sounds promising.
It was incredible. It had these subtle chocolate and caramel notes that I'd never tasted in coffee before. And he spent like 10 minutes explaining where the beans came from and how they roasted them. It completely changed how I think about coffee as more than just caffeine delivery.
That's amazing. Those are the kinds of experiences you can only get at independent shops. There's so much passion and knowledge that goes into what they do.
Exactly. And it makes me want to encourage people to be open to those kinds of conversations with baristas. Obviously, if there's a huge line, keep it brief. But if it's not busy, asking questions can lead to discovering something amazing.
Absolutely. And that brings us back to one of our main points. Don't be afraid to ask questions when you're ordering coffee. Baristas generally love talking about coffee, and they want you to have a good experience. Right. Let's do a quick recap for anyone who wants to level up their coffee ordering game. First, know your size preference and don't be afraid to point or use general terms if you're confused by the shop's naming system. Before we wrap up, I want to talk about something that's been trending lately: seasonal coffee drinks. It seems like every coffee shop is trying to create the next pumpkin spice latte phenomenon.
Second, start simple and work your way up to more complex drinks. There's no rush to become a coffee expert overnight. Oh my gosh, yes! And honestly, some of them are hits and some are questionable. Like, I tried a lavender honey latte last spring that was amazing, but then there was this maple bacon coffee that just tasted like breakfast gone wrong.
Third, ask for recommendations based on what you already like. Baristas are your allies, not your enemies.
And finally, remember that there's no wrong way to enjoy coffee. Whether you're a gas station coffee person or a single origin pour over enthusiast, what matters is that you're enjoying what you're drinking. That's so true. I used to feel like I had to try every single seasonal drink, but now I'm more selective. If something has flavors I know I like, I'll give it a shot. But if it's just weird for the sake of being weird, I'll stick to my usual order.
Perfect. Thanks for listening to Coffee Conversations, everyone. If you have any coffee stories or questions you want us to discuss, send them our way. And remember, life's too short for bad coffee, but it's also too short to stress about ordering it. Speaking of different drinks, can we talk about the difference between cold brew and iced coffee? Because I feel like a lot of people use those terms interchangeably, but they're actually completely different things.
Until next time, keep brewing and keep smiling. Yes, this is such an important distinction. Iced coffee is basically regular hot coffee that's been cooled down and poured over ice. Cold brew is coffee that's been steeped in cold water for hours, usually 12 to 24 hours. The flavor is completely different.
That's such good advice. Okay, before we totally run out of time, I think we should do that recap we promised. We've covered a lot of ground today, and I want to make sure everyone walks away with some concrete tips they can use.